We're going to move on and talk a little Guardians for a sec, guys. If you haven't heard of Buckeye State Credit Union, meet your favorite financial partner. Buckeye State Credit Union is a local institution offering everything from checking account to home equity lines of credit and auto loans with some of the lowest rates in Northeast Ohio. Their Cleveland branch is in Shaker Heights, which is one of 5 locations across the state, making it easy to find one near you. And if you can't get to a branch, don't worry. They make banking simple through digital banking. What sets them apart? Well, they make banking personal and convenient. At Buckeye, their focus is you. Their core values: connect, simplify, and adapt, guide everything they do, bringing people together, cutting through the clutter, and they're innovative. To learn more, visit buckeyecu.org. Buckeye State Credit Union, your money simplified. So 70 games into the Major League Baseball season, the Guardians are exactly a 500 baseball team. They are 35-35, and after being swept in Seattle to start a West Coast road trip, they were off yesterday. They take on San Francisco in a 3-game series tonight. But we're going to talk about the future of the Guardians. We'll get to the possible guys they could trade in the next segment. But, Bull, I was curious. I want to start with the when and then get to the how and who. But the question first is when. At 35-35, when is the time frame where the Guardians have to decide if they're going to be sellers at the deadline or push forward, considering the fact they may be 9.5 games out of the Central, but they're only 1 game out of the wild card?
Yeah, so if I'm the Guardians, I'm already thinking aggressively about making deals. Let me scale back a little bit for a minute, because obviously I've covered this team in depth since moving here in the summer of 2011. Okay, that's 14 years that I've been covering this team. So, and everybody knows how much I love baseball. And there's not a lot of good Guardians coverage, in my opinion, in this town, because there's a lot of members of the media that don't know baseball well and don't give an effort. And that's frustrating for those of us who love baseball. But I'll say this. In the 14 years I've covered this team, between manager and front office, like I and many others, including certainly G. Bush, have called for firings of Browns coaches. Yes. We've called for firings of Browns GMs. We've called for firing of Cavs coaches.
Benching quarterbacks.
We've called them benching quarterbacks, called firing Cavs GMs, all that. In 14 years, I have never called for the Guardians to fire anybody in the front office. And only once did I say they should fire their manager. That was Manny Acta in 2012, which is 13 years ago. All right? So in 13 years, I have not called for anybody in the Guardians organization to be fired. I hadn't even really seriously thought about it until today. Now, I am not saying right now, I'm not ready to go take this final step yet and say that I think the Guardians should fire their front office.
Oh, my goodness.
But I will tell you this. The only reason I'm not going that far now is because they overall have a good track record, although I don't like it the last 3 years in particular. And I think the owner is certainly a factor, hamstrings them, no doubt, which is why I'm not going. Unlike the Cavs and the Browns, even though I don't love their owners, especially Jimmy Haslam, the owner doesn't hamstring those guys in terms of financially. So that's an advantage that the Guardians don't have. And let me say that also, that Chris Antonetti and Mike Chernoff would be scooped up and would definitely get jobs. I know a lot of people are convinced that Kevin Stefanski would. I'm not as convinced that he's certainly getting scooped up. The Guardians front office would get scooped up. And I'm not ready to say fire them. But
Kevin would get scooped up as an OC.
Certainly. He'd get, yes. But I am ready to say that these guys need to be on the hot seat. And in my opinion, if we're in the same spot a year from now, I'm giving them one more trade deadline, one more offseason. If we're in the same spot next year at this time, where the organization appears to be floundering, I will finally, after 15 years it'll be next year, make that call. And I got to say, the front office, in my opinion, and again, with the caveat that they're hamstrung to some degree by ownership, the front office has done an absolutely horrendous job the last few years. We talked last week about their inability to develop hitters. I don't remember who was on the panel that day.
It was you, Jason, and
the third.
Tyvus.
And Tyvus, okay. They cannot develop hitters. They have no ability
at all.
They're the best organization in baseball, or top 3 in developing pitchers. And they are arguably the worst, certainly bottom 5 at developing hitters. Since Francisco Lindor, there's 2 hitters.
Steven Kwan.
Jose Ramirez and Steven Kwan.
That's it.
That's it. And here's the crazy thing, which I probably said last week, but I'll say again. Neither one of those were top prospects. They both came out of nowhere. And the rest of this team, every single hitting prospect they've had in the past decade has fallen on their face. There's still obviously some that have a chance to turn it around either here or other places. Will Benson seems to be putting it together in Cincinnati, although he didn't get it was the Reds that got the best out of him. They've made other trades with Houston and Tampa Bay that have led to some good prospects that are actually panning out in other places. But you look at all the flops, from Clint Frazier to Bradley Zimmer to Tyler Naquin.
Pomerantz.
All these guys. By the way, Pomerantz, all these years later, has been lights out for the Cubs in their bullpen this year.
Crazy.
I think he's going to have 1 run all season.
But this year, Bull.
Yeah, I'm getting to it, Mike. I'm just saying.
Okay.
So that's all hanging over this team as we get into this trade deadline season. Now, we saw, was it 2 days ago? Yeah, 2 days ago, the Red Sox make the blockbuster trade with the Giants, who the Guardians are playing tonight.
Devers is making his debut tonight against
Devers
the
is going to play tonight, right? So, and you got another dangerous bat to deal with when you're dealing with San Francisco.
Who's on the
already
mound for us?
Ciccone versus Robbie Ray, who's been really good for.
Big advantage. Giants have their 2 best pitchers going in the first and third games of the series. They're both all-star level pitchers. So you're in trouble there. You're already 5. Now, the trade deadline is the end of July. The All-Star break is in 4 weeks, I believe. The Guardians have 25 games between now and the All-Star break. I believe they will be under 500 when we get to the All-Star break. The only bad teams they're playing between now and the All-Star break are the Athletics, and that's on the road. And then their last series before the All-Star break is in Chicago against the White Sox. Now, St. Louis has kind of been playing like crap lately, but they're decent. Toronto's pretty good. San Francisco's very good. They're playing the Cubs before the All-Star break. They've been great. They're playing the Astros before the break. They've been very good. So they've got a lot of tough series between now and the break, and more road games than home games when they have been particularly bad on the road. I am not optimistic right now, and I think the Guardians should immediately. Now, I'm not saying that if they have an opportunity to acquire, when you think of traditionally selling, it means trading veterans for minor leaguers. They need to trade for some. If they're going to trade for minor leaguers, they got to be guys that are ready to play in the majors today. So they should be sellers right now if there is an appropriate trade for them. They are not going to be buyers. They are not going to be contenders. You could say they're only a game out of a wild card, which they are, but there's like 8 teams for the last 2 wild card spots. Yeah. And the Guardians are just not good enough. And they overachieved last year, and it's all coming back on them this year. And the way they have botched killing the trade value of all their prospects, every single one. They don't call guys up. Every other team in baseball is calling up their top prospects. Every team. The Guardians don't. Kafis. The guy's got nearly 1,000 OPS in Columbus after he had 1,000 OPS in Akron. Why is he not on this team? I don't understand.
Well, there's 3 things that kill the Guardians all the time, and this is coming.
No sticks.
That's one, but then we're gonna get more philosophical. The things that kill them is think about this as your business model. Even if you develop and put a guy in place that's one of the top 5 guys in the entire Major League Baseball, you're never going to sign him. We know it. You know
only Jose. That was it. And that's a huge discount.
So you start off at that deficiency.
Yeah.
Second of all, you just mentioned it,
and that's self-inflicted.
That's
they
self-inflicted.
could sign most of those guys. They just don't.
So okay, all right, cool. We understand if you ain't got no money or whatever. How's about we do this? Let's be one of these teams that develop at a high level, and our farm system is crazy, and our drafting is crazy. And guess what? We talked about it yesterday. Where are all these prime top 20 prospects that we were supposed to get? Where are they panning out? Where are they at? Where are the guys that's coming in the farm system? You don't have that. Then you put guys in the farm system, and it's purgatory. If you get drafted by the Guardians, you got a 10-year window. You may work 5 years in the minors before you even get a call up, and you don't even know. Like Schneeman, I'm like, okay, you be telling me about DeLauder, and then you give me Schneeman. I'm like, where did Schneeman come from? Like it's no Big Christmas. We heard about all these other guys. Big Chris, they gave us Big Christmas. We're like, what happened to these corner outfitters you got? And then the thing that really hits them is this: we the only city in the world who do this. We speak of the Guardians front office as if they play. The first thing you say is not their hitters. Yeah. It's how great they do with little resources. That's the first thing. I'm not
saying that anymore. I'm done giving them credit for that. I'm not interested.
But as a fan, you're like, that's cool. I know you like continuity. I know that you guys are stable. I understand that you guys have performed comparatively to the other two teams. And I'm like, well, that ain't crazy because we be mad at the other two teams. I simply think that the way it's set up is that the Guardians, because they are the third team, there will never be enough external pressure on the Guardians to make anything of a dramatic move to go either way. They're never gonna. No one's gonna. The fan base is not gonna be up in arms like right now that we doing with Darius Garland and Jared Allen. You'll never get that way with the Guardians. As long as they're competitive, as long as they are a game out or it's still early, they think about it this way.
I do think, there are a lot of, and obviously a lot of the diehard baseball fans follow me and send me messages because they know that I'm paying attention to this stuff. And I think part of the reason you may feel that way, and I think there is definitely some truth to what you say, part of the reason the Cavs are talked about more is because there's more members of the media that know basketball than know baseball.
I agree with that.
That's part of the thing. But I do think, I think a lot of the Guardians, more than in a long time, the Guardians fan base is pissed off. Yes, there is a percentage that is just like bowing to Antonetti and Chernoff. They don't blame them for anything. They think the owner is reasonable. They cheer when they make trades to save money. But I do think a good chunk of the Guardians fan base is pissed off right now. They're frustrated, and I think there's some apathy. And I think the casual fans are now becoming apathetic.
Oh yeah.
Well, think about this.
And that's a bad place to be.
Think about this. They were one series away from being in the World Series last year. So when you think about that in any other sport, what teams do in the offseason? They find a way to beef up their roster.
Yeah.
The Guardians respond by trading away their best defensive player and their second best hitter.
Me and Tyvis, I was like,
what is that?
I'm confused. I was so confused because I'm looking and look, and I get it, Jose. And this is the point. This is the part where I would tell Jose and a lot of other people, you gave back all that money
for nothing.
And you've been playing on these teams, and they've been telling you that they ain't interested in winning. At some point, this is why players start acting up.
Yeah.
I got to throw a fit. I got to do something. Maybe I need kicked out a couple games to show you that they treat you like you a sucker. Like, that $50 million, you gave us that discount. Where did that discount go?
Think about this, G. Like, say I'm a free agent. Why would I come to the Guardians?
They're not even offering you money.
Well, none of the good free agents are coming here because they're not offering any money.
But still.
Money talks.
Even if I'm somebody that's brought up through the system, when I hit free agency, you can never ask me to take a hometown discount.
No, why would anybody?
You did Jose like that?
Yeah.
Oh, I know you don't care about me. If you did Jose like that.
I looked it up yesterday. I believe he's the 64th highest paid player per year. Like,
that's crazy.
If you average out the salary of his contract, he's about the 64th highest best player, and he's a top 10 player in the league.
He getting Isaac Okoro money. That's wild.
I mean, yeah.
It's a little more, but it's the same ball.